Was is good, YouTube. And we got a bit of a different reaction today. We got history summarized Cleopatra. Because recently I've just been like kind of interested in this concept of Cleopatra. I don't know what she does. Ignore her tits on the screen because, yeah. But I'm just going to go into history rabbit hole. I'm going to see how it goes. Maybe it does insanely well as well. That'll be kind of beautiful. So here we go. Here we go. Cleopatra. Let's go, boys.
Patra.
You know I'm too lazy to edit my YouTube videos, so I'm just going to try to do this in one take. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Pretty straightforward story.
Is that a slave? Yeah, that's also something that interests me. Like, she was a queen, so powerful, but this is like, no, this is, I think it was Julius Caesar's time, so this was AD, right? But like, right, like, in that time, it's insane for women to have any power when in the households, like, they're basically allowed to be beat, raped, and everything, and it was all, like, to do with the law, and it was all okay. So surprised to see a woman so powerful, you know?
Shakespeare tells us that she's
W woman and all that, come on.
the gorgeous queen of Egypt and master of the art of seduction who banged her way across Rome to get power, ultimately ruining her own empire before committing Cobra-assisted suicide.
Yeah, I heard about that, Cobra's suicide.
Couldn't be easier, right? Wrong. For starters, never trust a leading question, but secondly, and actually on topic, Cleopatra's real story is rather less uniformly disparaging and far more interesting. History's pervasive problem with Egypt's final pharaoh is that she usually plays a side character in Roman history rather than ever being the protagonist in her own right, and her story usually gets smeared in the shuffle because of it. It also didn't help that the only historical sources that
For some reason, I don't trust you or your brother. You sound useful and cute. She does sound hot as fuck, I'm gonna be honest about that one. Jinx, you owe me a slave. Get lost lady. Ooh, she has cuties, gross royalty. Your army sure will help with Parthians. Wait, I need to look, you do some research. Because, I don't even know, I haven't seen like a good, like, let me just like see. Okay, a lot of these are AI slop. I think like 99% of these are AI slop. Okay, but this kind of works. Okay, now it's just all AI slop. Alright, GG. Cool. Hopefully that wasn't a naked Cleopatra, which I didn't notice, so that's gonna be in the video.
we have on the matter are from Romans, hence the Rome-centrism and the casting of her character as a seductress with a habit of ruining otherwise perfectly blameless great men. But such is life. So, to get at the woman behind the myth, let's do some history. Cleopatra's story actually starts 300 years earlier when a Greek kid named Alexander decided that he wanted to own
Oh, this is, oh no, 300 years earlier.
the entire planet. So he marched eastward, beat the
Owning the
Persians.
entire planet, that's the most supervillain thing, like, I'm gonna rule over the entire world, you know? Like isn't Gru's thing, Minions and Monsters came out, I might watch it because it actually got a really high rating on Rotten Tomatoes for some reason, 93%. And yeah, his whole thing is, I want to conquer the moon, or is I want to steal the moon.
And conquered everything in sight. When he died 20 minutes later without a clear line of succession, his generals scrambled to claim their corner of the fragmenting Macedonian Empire. The general Ptolemy got his hands on Egypt and became King Ptolemy, kickstarting a dynasty that I can only describe as deeply unpleasant to trace. And
currently
speaking of, click the video in the top right if you want to watch me lose my freaking mind attempting to document the chronology of that
you watch that,
lineage.
chat?
But, unsettling family politics aside, the Ptolemaic dynasty ruled during the so-called Hellenistic era, where Alexander's successors spread Hellenic, that is to say Greek, culture out to Syria, Mesopotamia, and Egypt. Although
Okay.
our story takes
I'll follow.
place along the Nile, the ancestry of the Ptolemaic rulers and the culture they promoted were unmistakably Greek. Fast forward 3 centuries and we have Cleopatra VII and her younger brother
Oh yeah, I saw something literally just before I clicked record, is that apparently Moana 3 is in the works. Look, Moana 3 can be a good movie. It's just like, if we follow the trend, it seems like they're getting worse. No, they're getting good, worse, and it'll get worse again. But it could generally be a good movie. My only issue is with Moana 2, I don't even hate as much other people. Like, it might be like a 5 or 6 out of 10. Like, it's just like, I hate the side cast. The song's actually was it? No, wait, what's the song? No, how far goes the first movie? I'll go beyond on the vast uncharted seas, cause I lose myself between my home, what's unknown, and what lies beyond. Leaving all our love behind, all the future of our people still to find. Can I go beyond? Destiny in motion, And it's only just begun. Nowhere this life on earth so hard for come undone. What lies beyond, or ever far from home, and everything and everyone I've known. What lies beyond on a vast uncharted sea, 'cause I lose myself between my home right here and what lies beyond, leaving all our love behind and a future of our people still to find. Can I go beyond? Anyway, I digress.
Ptolemy the 13th. Both.
Oh yeah, the point is, Moana 3 could actually be good. But they need to look at abandon the side cast of Crucico. I hate them. Just make a Moana and Maui story again. Just make it so like, there's like a Moana strip scene in the movie as well, and we're good.
Lived in the beautiful city of Alexandria, the 1st century BC's knowledge capital of the entire Mediterranean world. Between the superbly stocked library, the abundance of mathematicians,
You want to make a Disney movie
poets,
inspired by Cleopatra? They make Cleopatra like a baddie. Oh, wait.
scientists, philosophers,
Am I cooked in the brain, guys?
and rhetoricians, and the fact that she was a princess, the young Cleopatra had the best education possible in the entire Greek world. And unlike a lot of her party-crazed ancestors, she actually put in the effort. She would have been raised on Homer, Herodotus, Plato, Aristotle, all of the classical works we know, and a lot of the ones that we've lost in the meantime. After memorization, the focus shifted to composition, making arguments, telling stories in varied ways, not just knowing, but
Typical Simon's going to write a deathbed speech from the perspective of Odysseus. Tell a fable. This is like low-key is like how school is nowadays. It's like English. Like it's like your unwritten GCSE. Actually, no, this is like your this is like it's literally like your GCSE language paper 2. It's literally like basically your GCSE language paper 1. This is like a politics or even like some random subject type question. Like we have to like discuss how to what extent you agree. What's turn up for the Trojan War? This is a history type of question. And what constitutes a good life? Bro, this is some philosophical type question, bro. This is literally like school nowadays. Cleopatra was ahead of her time.
thinking and ultimately speaking. And that's the crucial point. During her life, Cleopatra wasn't described as spellbindingly gorgeous, but rather she was captivating. She was known to be the
Ooh, she's like a seductress, okay.
ultimate conversationalist, and that's how she won people over.
So she wasn't like a 10 out of 10 baddie, but like her words got her to the 10 out of 10. She's like a 7 out. It's like how nowadays it's like you can be a 7 out of 10 without makeup, then a 10 out of 10 with makeup. She was like a 7 out of 10, but then 10 out of 10 with her communication skills. I hear you.
Her ancestors before her were exceptionally intelligent, and none of them bothered to even learn how to speak Egyptian. But Cleopatra could charmingly convince anyone of anything in one of 10 different languages. Bottom line is the lady was smart, okay?
10 different languages.
Thing in one.
This is literally in the fucking, like, this is like in like year 0 or some shit, bro. And she's speaking all these languages, and I'm a bum who can barely speak English and can speak pretty good French. Je m'appelle Fumetal. You should subscribe to. Fuck. Subscribe. I don't know what. I should say to subscribe les mi channel parce que j'ai produit très bien content et gré et super videos jusqu'au 10.
One of 10 different languages.
That was the most broken French I've ever spoken in my life. That was actually a horrible showing to show why I'm fluent in French, GG.
Bottom line is the lady was smart, okay? Because I feel like that point is all too often ignored in favor of how supposedly hot she was. So anyway, when Cleopatra's
He's talking about me, chat, by the way.
father Ptolemy XII died, the throne passed to her prepubescent brother Ptolemy XIII, and she served as his co-monarch. Interfamilial scheming was no stranger to the Ptolemies, and after a couple years of power jockeying between them, Ptolemy made the political and military friends he needed to force Cleopatra into exile. But at the same time, another much bigger civil war was afoot. Namely, Caesar was busy staging a gigantic coup and chasing Pompey across the entire Mediterranean. Now, Pompey was close with the Ptolemy kids on account of business with their father, and
If you get that reference, you get it.
Cleopatra's hope was that she could promise Egypt's armies in his fight against Caesar if he kicked out her brother and made her queen. Solid plan. But the boy King Ptolemy decided that Caesar was a better bet, so he had Pompey killed the second he arrived in Alexandria. Caesar was deeply irritated at having his victory yoinked, so he angrily plopped himself down in the royal palace. Cleopatra saw an opening and got to work. Casually strolling into the palace wasn't an option on the count of her still being in exile, so she stealthed her way in.
Didn't she like sneak in bed sheets or something? I heard about that.
Stories of her coming to Caesar neatly wrapped in a fine rug to get past the guards likely derived from the queen being stuffed in a much less conspicuous laundry bag instead. And by the way, when you do put your queen in the laundry, it's machine wash cold and then tumble dry low. There's not a tag, so it's hard to figure out sometimes. Anyway, as Shakespeare would have it, the whirlwind romance begins from that very minute, with Cleopatra's first major act being one of seduction. Now, that wouldn't be a particularly high bar to clear, given Caesar had an affair with every woman who so much as made eye contact with him, but the evidence points to any
Pussy could not have been that good, Caesar.
Romance between the duo happening a little further down the line. While I don't doubt that Cleopatra eventually developed googly eyes for the sharpest cheekbones in the Mediterranean, she needed an ally much more than a boyfriend. That was just a bonus. Likewise, Caesar probably realized after about 2 minutes of talking to her that she was a far more useful ally and grain provider than the young, dumb, and already on thin ice Ptolemy. They both had what the other wanted, a good friend in a soon-to-be high place. But it wasn't as simple as high-fiving and conquering the world together.
How come?
Ptolemy and his army blockaded Alexandria, and the new power couple was stuck in a besieged royal palace for 6 months. Caesar put his neck out by betting on Cleopatra, and side note, that's not the kind of thing that Caesar, of all people, would do for just some crush. Cleopatra was clearly a
that pussy was just so good.
Valuable ally in Caesar's eyes and not just a pretty face and figure. However, by the time that Caesar's reinforcements arrived to break the siege of
So, I've seen her nipples like 5 times this video, and I feel uncomfortable getting flashes many times. But it's just a painting. But also, like back in the day in like ancient like Egypt stuff, did they even have the whole idea of women shouldn't show her nipples and stuff? Like, did they even have that? I actually wonder. I feel like a lot of time when this type of clothing is adapted, they just like put like a metal chest, because they always have this like weird like sash thing. That's just like an Egyptian type thing, especially the pharaohs and whatnot. But then for a woman, for a man, it'll just be that. But then for a woman, they always put like a bronze or like gold thing underneath as well to cover the tits. But that probably was not actuality.
And defeat Ptolemy's armies, the two had spent plenty of quality time together. They were lost in endless conversation, she was pregnant, they were tagging each other in memes, it was true love. And by this point, Caesar had conquered the entire Mediterranean. But instead of immediately going back to Rome to be dictator, he spent an extra year touring Egypt with Cleopatra. When he returns to Rome, he publicly acknowledged Cleopatra's son Caesarion as his child. While Caesarion wasn't in line to gain much in Rome, he would spend the next 2 decades preparing to become pharaoh of Egypt. But our most pressing concern here is Cleopatra, who now fully and finally became queen, and she wasted no time in carefully tending to a kingdom.
Your savior is here! Thor Ragnarok is such a tough movie.
Rulers had largely ignored for centuries. As queen, Cleopatra took on the role of Isis incarnate. Every bit of iconography, be it art, dress, coinage, or ceremony, all proclaimed the same message. Hi, my name is Cleopatra, and I will be your goddess. While Isis was essentially a universal deity in the Hellenistic era, Cleopatra had 2 main roles to fill: the protector of justice and the mother of, well, everything. To that end, actually being a mother was great PR for her because she really got to lean into her relationship with the fertility of the Nile River. Agriculture was everything on the Nile, and after her father went bankrupt by bribing Rome not to annex Egypt, she made effective use of a strong bureaucracy to make sure the economy ran smoothly. When your entire country lives and dies by the flooding of the river,
watching an economy back in those days would have been so weird. Like, at this point, do they even have like currency, or are they still like bartering, just trading goods for goods? Because it's been so weird. Like, let's say everyone's just suffering in your country. Like, how do you stop that? Would you incorporate the Keynesian economics? Or, like, do you just, like, bite the bullet and be like, it's what it is? Like, did they even have the concept of the free market? Surely they did, though, because, like, I don't even know. It's actually very fascinating when you think about it like that.
There was no room to be laissez-faire about it. And as
laissez-faire, like, oh my god, bro.
She had to deal with a string of droughts in the early years of her reign, which she handled remarkably well. The Ptolemaic rulers were the most notorious party and—
Yeah, sex is cool, but have you ever responsibly used your royal authority to make your life better for the people who depend on you?
animals on Earth, and Cleopatra was no
When I'm actually
exception
famous, I'm literally gonna make tweets like that. That'd be so funny. Or that shit just like, just make me laugh.
to that affinity for pageantry. She differed in that she utilized that revelry to make religious and political statements, and she recognized that being a queen necessitated actually doing work. Whenever she wasn't hosting a royal function or ceremony, she was
My
reading
queen, crocodiles have crowded into the courthouse, causing complete chaos. Please send help. How does that even like happen? Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's just an over-exaggerated example, but yeah, she actually had to do shit.
and writing letters, addressing complaints from people up and down the Nile. She was also very attentive to the strife between Greeks and Egyptians. Most civil disturbances stemmed from that simple divide, so Cleopatra presented herself as a queen for both her fellow Greeks and for the population of Egypt that was, well, you know, Egyptian. Because no one in her family had bothered to do that before her. She held corruption accountable,
Cleopatra.
provided for her people in equal measure, embraced the Egyptian aspects of her role as pharaoh, and, again, actually spoke Egyptian. Every other Ptolemaic king used the throne as an excuse to party all day and all night, but not Cleopatra.
Cleopatra.
In her 18 years as queen, her reign
Actually
can be
acts like a good what do you call it? Just leader. Let's just say leader.
summarized with just a single sentiment. She cared.
I mean, she is basically a dictator, though, because, I mean, she wasn't voted in, right? But
Meanwhile, on the Roman side of the Mediterranean,
Typically, you can
which
get,
is
you know,
to
she's
say
like
the
a good one.
entire
She isn't
rest
Kim
of the
Jong-un.
Mediterranean by this point, Julius Caesar got super murdered and his adopted son and second-in-command were busy chasing down the assassins in Greece. After that mess cleared up, the young Caesar Octavian took command of the west, while Marcus Antonius held on to the east, and with it,
it's not kind of crazy how he's such a good understanding of this, even though it happened so long ago. Like, obviously, some things are just like guesstimates, because we have like little bits of knowledge and we can just fill in the gaps using like logic. But it's kind of crazy to still have this knowledge, you know?
most of the land and sea that bordered Egypt. As the conventional story goes, Antonius summoned Cleopatra to the Anatolian city of Tarsus, and
Excuse me while I slip into a more comfortable color palette to signify my shifting allegiances.
she delayed to build the suspense, but they fell in love the instant they met and it was immediately off to start a dynasty together.
Hey, hot stuff, how would you like to be in a British guy's historical fanfic 1,600 years? It's pretty funny. That's a Shakespeare reference, chat.
Again, no. Beyond the suspected eyelash fluttering and the known fact that Antonius would bang anything that even moved, let's look at some practicalities first. A decade earlier, Rome suffered an embarrassing loss against Parthia. Caesar was planning a campaign to avenge it, but the dying business threw off his schedule a little bit. Antonius, sitting pretty in the east and looking to inherit Caesar's legacy, was hell-bent on launching that campaign.
Okay.
But Rome was actively broke from fighting the assassins, and Parthian campaigns were stupid expensive. No one else but Cleopatra's
Salve, General, may I invite you to dinner? How does you, me, and a candlelit meal, the conquest of Parthia, and the saying the independence of my kingdom sounds, plus the amount of sex that probably happened clapping in the fucking bedsheets?
Egypt could fund that expedition. On her end of things, Egypt could only stay independent by Rome's goodwill, and what better will is there than love? The story of the following decade is a quiet one for Cleopatra, and almost solely revolves around her lavish and ruinous affair with Antonius. But here we need to consider the exclusively pro-Octavian sources that we have for this. As far as anyone writing during the Roman Empire is concerned, Caesar and Octavian were the winners and therefore the good guys. That's why with Caesar, Cleopatra is portrayed as a mysterious and dramatic ally, but for eventual loser Antonius, Cleopatra is said to have bewitched him into a life of enslaved debauchery and ruined everything. So after things got going, yeah, they did love each other and she had 3 kids by him, but there's more actual strategy going on here than the ancient Roman tabloids would have you believe. Cleopatra's solo story stays quiet in the Roman sources because there's no scandal and efficient government.
Okay.
That said, Cleopatra had a string of good times in the following decade. Her empire was prosperous, secured by bloodline, and enhanced by the small but generous gift of Cilicia, Syria, the Levant, Cyrene, and Cyprus. You know, nothing too fancy, just a return to the full extent of the old
What is this blue area here? I'm really confused. It's like
Ptolemaic Empire. It's one of those feel-good gifts, like sent.
fun isn't something one considers when balancing the Mediterranean, but this does put a smile on my face. I get that reference to Thanos. W reference. I'm loving the references, bro.
Candles. So basically, in 37 BC, Cleopatra was rolling in it. She had
That marks my royal ambition achieved, and in record time too. Well, time to celebrate. Oh wait, I've been celebrating the entire time. It's good being a goddess.
pretty much everything she wanted. And when Antonius set off to conquer Parthia,
Bye-bye, dear. I'm off to expand the empire. Have fun, honey. Don't forget to raid the treasuries while you and your friends are out east.
the next year, she would become empress of the entire East. Cities were already minting coins with both of their faces on them. He was dying.
Oh, but was this how Cleopatra actually looked, or was this Caesar? I think it's probably I don't even know. This is actually how Cleopatra looked, right? She was actually chopped IRL, I'm gonna be honest, but
Isis and she was Isis. The pair of rulers was literally a match
yeah, I think it is, bro. But she was chopped. Like, what is this insane? What is this Canthal tilt? Like, yeah.
made in heaven. Except for the fact that after that, it wasn't. Like, at all. So, unfortunately,
Change your plans, everything went horribly, and the army broke. That's fine. I'm a competent enough leader for the both of us.
the Parthian campaign was a total disaster, and Antonius lost a third of his army just on the retreat.
Fuck yeah.
Whoops.
What
Cleopatra was still doing really well, but it's after 36 that her beloved Antonius started to be more of a liability than a help. At this point, Octavian smelled blood, so he cleverly gave Antonius an impossible choice. He sent his long-suffering sister and Antonius' actual Roman wife, Octavia,
Hey loser, I saw you got your ass handed to you in Parthia. Please accept the humiliating gift of my help, and the wife you clearly don't care about. Catch you later, dork.
to the east along with 2,000 soldiers. The message was clear: reject Cleopatra and accept Roman help, or forfeit the army and your wife and
big
keep your
decisions.
Egyptian harlot queen.
hardest choices require the
Cleopatra
strongest
couldn't
of
lose
wills.
her ally, so it was do or die. Literally. Professionalism. So she laid on the affection to win Antonius over. I mean, it worked, but now they were in it together until the end, and the writing was just starting to appear on the wall. To
Shall I read all that?
turn things around, Cleopatra did what her ancestors did best and threw a celebration. With the alliance of Antonius and Cleopatra stronger and more interdependent than ever, they decided to flex their might. During citywide festivities, Cleopatra was declared Queen of Kings with her son Caesarion.
Take away the throne, I'm still a genius billionaire, play girl, philanthropist goddess. I get that reference to Tony Stark, first Avengers movie when he's arguing with Captain America. Oh, what a W video. This video, that's the pen to it. Boom. You see this in the bottom right corner? Like.
Claimed to be Caesar's rightful heir in a very pointed jab at Octavian, declared King of Kings and successor to the throne of Egypt. As for her children with Antonius, Alexander Helios was crowned king of Armenia, Media, and Parthia. The last two they didn't even own yet. Cleopatra Selene was given Crete and Cyrene, while Ptolemy Philadelphus got Phoenicia, Syria, and Cilicia, almost all of which belongs to Rome just a few years earlier. As far as the happy couple was concerned,
Who
the
runs the
entire
world?
East belongs
Us.
to their family, and they had the pan-imperial iconography to match. Egypt and the Roman East were gone, and in its place was the new empire of Antonius and Cleopatra together. However, this was a colossal slap in the face to Rome, and Octavian had a very easy time convincing the people.
Alrighty, everyone in favor of murder. Alright. Everyone in favor of murdering the pants off the traitor Anthony's annoying, clingy girlfriend, say aye.
In the face to Rome, and Octavian had a very easy time convincing the people and his armies that Marcus Antonius had sacrificed his Roman identity to consort with this dangerous and dastardly Egyptian queen. I go into both the propaganda war and the actual war between Octavian and Antonius in this video here, but for our purposes, Cleopatra's grand gesture at the so-called donations of Alexandria became her complete undoing. After their defeat at Actium, again, over here, click it.
Now, it probably would have been fine if it weren't for my General Agrippa. He's kind of the best.
Go watch it. It was game over. The final months and moments of the star-crossed couple have been unsurprisingly romanticized to death, literally, so there's no way to actually know what's up, but we can take some educated guesses. After Actium, Antonius was a despondent mess, and his soldiers were defecting hourly, but Cleopatra was still planning ways to escape and turn the tables while consoling Antonius at every turn. That strength of character is nothing short of astounding. Even here, in total defeat, she never quit. In the end, there was no defeating Octavian, though she threatens to burn the entirety of her
It's not about the treasure, it's about sending a message, and that message is screwing you away. Let me do the voice. It's not about the treasure, it's about sending a message, and that message is screw you. I think that was horrible.
treasure if he tried anything sneaky. He captured her and demanded that she be the main trophy in his victory parade, and that was something that she would not do. With her lover already dead and her children...
guys, I play League of Legends on stream. Because I've seen Jinxie, bro. He just got silver finally with Dante. Like, I feel like it can't be that bad. Every person who plays League wants to kill themselves, though. Like in Marvel Raps, you say that. In Fortnite, you say that. But, like, in League, like, actively, no one likes that game. Like, I actually enjoy my time playing Marvel Rivals most of the time. Like, I realized I actually like that game recently.
him promised to live
Tell your sister that I appreciate her kindness and really feel bad that she's gotten the short end of the stick for her whole life, despite always doing her best to be helpful and kind. Also tell her that her brother is a knob.
with the
You
infinitely
knobhead.
accommodating Octavia. Cleopatra instead chose
sus
death. It
out.
wouldn't have been by a snake bite, though.
And then
Those
again.
really hurt, and she had painless poisons for that kind of thing. Per the leaked will of Antonius, the two were buried together in Alexandria, where they've gone undiscovered to this day.
I wish to be buried with my general in my city as befits a goddess.
So, that
Make it
is the
so.
roller
Wait,
coaster
Joe,
in
what's that?
Alexandria.
The last one, make it so, is the only single word we have that's directly attributed to Cleopatra Russell. How is that even directly attributed to her, bro? Like, we didn't have fucking CCTV back in the day to record her. We didn't have, like, her phone recording her death. Like, how was that even, like, true? I don't understand how that's confirmed.
Where they've gone undiscovered to this day. So, that is the roller coaster that was Cleopatra's life. It's been twisted
Crazy
every
life.
which way to suit the needs of 2,000 years worth of writers, but under the slabs of romanticized gossip, Cleopatra was a woman who used her genius, her wealth, her power, and to a certain extent her sexuality to accomplish her many goals. Throughout her life, she planned carefully and worked hard because she cared. And, if only briefly in the grand scheme of things, she achieved some insane stuff. She's arguably the most powerful woman in history, and you could easily make the case that
I mean, isn't she, like, the richest or something as well?
during her lifetime she was the smartest, most
And, like, obviously, I've been playing it for bats and stuff about how hot she is, how hot she was supposed to be and stuff, but, like, the stuff she's actually done, like, that's some insane political manipulation, and that's incredible.
accomplished person on the planet. But of course, she also had boobs and did the sex sometimes, which is clearly the takeaway historians, playwrights, and storytellers should be focusing on. That surely won't give anyone a dangerously reductive impression of one of history's most interesting people, or diminish a lifetime of world-shaping accomplishments to 2 boyfriends and a snake.
I mean, unfortunately, like, I've been trolling about it, but that's just like it's just like institutionalized sexism, because think about it like this: that was in fucking BC, and for years and years after that, it was still men, still women beneath men. So the most recent interpretation of that were the most sexist things ever. She's like, yeah, she just seduced them. She's like, she's a seductress. She's like a succubus, you know, and just keeps going on and on and on through time. So that means any like real message from it is kind of lost, you know. Like, apart from the fact that she did, like, the facts are she did kind of manipulate things and did some insane political manipulation and solved a bunch of issues, but like, that is, those facts are so underneath like the interpretations, you know. And it's because those interpretations could even be true to an extent. It's just like, it's hard to, well, I'm yapping now, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you understand what I'm saying if you've got this far, because I'm a yapster. Anyway, that's it for the YouTube video. W fucking Cleopatra and all that. Ignore this on the side. I'm not even lot, but this reaction wasn't even a lot, by the way. Like, that video I wasn't paying attention to because I was playing Marvel Rivals. I wanted to kill myself while doing that, so it wasn't a lot. But anyway, I digress. I knew about Snake Bite, I knew about certain bits. Like, I knew about her fucking Julius Caesar. Those are like the only two takeaways I got from this video. I didn't know about any of this. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.